Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's so interesting. If you look at today versus, let's say, even 20 years ago, if somebody said to you, or you just heard, they're going to therapy. Back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, somebody would say or think like, oh, somebody has a problem. Oh, and hush, hush, we don't talk about that. Now, people freely go to therapy. It's like going to a friend. It's like a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I'm taking care of myself. What can
Right.
therapy do for you? What can't it do? How does that whole process work? We've talked about a lot of things in terms of mental health over the last number of weeks and months. We've never hit this topic. So we're
Mhm.
going to peel those layers back with an amazing psychologist. She has been working with people for many, many years, all different types, individuals, couples. She's Dr. Ann Creekmore, and she's back with us. Hi, Ann. How you doing?
Good, Steve. How are you?
I didn't think of this topic myself. I simply picked up your book, Love
Ah,
Yourself, Love Your Life, and it's chapter 4. And I
yeah.
think it's the one chapter, one topic that we didn't we didn't touch upon. And if you look at the chapter, title of it is here, and then there's something in italics that I want to read. And it
Mhm.
says a lot. It says, I am good and I deserve and have good things. Says it all. We all deserve to be happy, to have good things in our life. But sometimes, things get in the way. You have challenges. You react to certain things in a certain way, and you're not really sure why you do it. How does psychotherapy work? Let's go right there. Let's go to basics here today.
Sure. Do you want to share something about your thoughts about it before I go into it?
The difference between it and coaching, because that's another popular thing today,
Correct.
coaching is more action oriented, where in my mind, therapy looks at your past, how you got to where you are, and there are some things that you can definitely work on. Um, there's something here that's in your book. How psychotherapy works is a person a TV set. And explain that for us.
Okay, sure. Um, I haven't looked at that section in so long, but I know what I meant by it was that basically we don't have someone who's working on a TV set would be able to open it up and look at this wire or that tube or whatever, and being a psychologist, everything is invisible, or any helping professional, mental health professional, we're doing things kind of invisibly. We have to rely on the person that we're working with to be open, and we have to develop rapport with them, help them understand that it's all confidential, and that unless someone tells you that they're going out to hurt themselves or someone else, you're not going to be sharing these things. So they should feel very comfortable just opening up, because they have to, because it's all invisible. And it's even invisible really to the person as well, really. So it's a lot of just sharing, communicating, um, and then of course the therapist being able to evaluate what they're saying, having some clinical judgment to help them understand what their experience or what their thought process or what they're feeling, where it's coming from. But they've got to get the info first. That's the first session, the intake, kind of talking about the problems of living. And then I also give a lot of questionnaires, just kind of real condensed, but to get at every possible kind of underlying root functioning issue that a person can have, get their whole history. So we can kind of pull it all together to get an understanding what the root functioning is. Um, but that's all through kind of writing and checklists and ratings and different things to help you understand, do they have some form of ADHD, do they have a complex PTSD, say with dissociation, what do they have a drug and alcohol problem, what is their usage, and so on, things that as a professional you would kind of know what they are telling you means, and so what to help them with.
What do you say to somebody who is fearful of going to therapy because they don't want to relive some hurt and pain?
Right. Well, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, you know, basically, a therapist is there for the person. At least this is how I see it. You're there to be for that person, to support them. And if they're not ready to discuss something or bring something up, then that's fine. They don't have to go into it until ready, or if they're ready to do it. You can ask these questions, and maybe they give you a little bit, like, on a checklist that I have that of your symptoms, it would say something like physical abuse or sexual abuse, and you can circle it or not circle it, you know what I mean? And start to share about it. And then if you don't want to go into any of it when, we're first meeting, of course you don't have to, but at least it gives the therapist the idea, oh, well, this could be how they could have been affected by it. Or you can just ask, you may not want to talk in depth around that, of course, but when did this occur? Like, what was the age range? So you can make a decision. Is this a complex PTSD, a DID spectrum, social identity disorder spectrum under age 8, where they may have, mentally self-hypnotized to cope and kind of put themselves in different compartments? So you get a little feel of how their mind might be working. Were they imaginative when this went on? Or is this kind of a PTSD when they're older, a teen or an adult, and they could ask, hey, do you ever have flashbacks? Do you ever have nightmares? Are you kind of vigilant in crowds or worried? So what to ask. And so, generally people are pretty open and honest, but you tell them, basically, no one's saying this but me. And you're here for the help. So you got to share, because otherwise it's all invisible. I won't know. And you do not have to go into, there's a lot of therapies. In fact, there was something, I think it was in the Monitor, the Psychologist, American Psychologist Monitor, kind of summarizing, and I think it's going to be focus of convention this year in the APA, but on different approaches to trauma, therapy approaches. And they don't say that they thought for a while that you had to do some sort of intensive exposure therapy to get someone over trauma. And now they're realizing there is plenty of other ways to help someone who's had trauma that don't involve a real intense, cathartic re-experiencing of trauma. It may be, doing hypnosis when you're in a relaxed trance state and getting the suggestion that if you get a trigger, a flashback, that you'll be feeling okay, and you'll just feel relaxed and confident. Remember it as if it's in the past, like it's in a photo album. There's plenty of therapies that don't involve, making someone really re-experience intense issues.
But you have to want it, I would imagine. For example,
Absolutely.
Energy healing or hypnotherapy, especially hypnotherapy. If somebody is not going to open themselves up to the healing, it's just not going to work. It's not going to happen, right?
Absolutely. You've really got to open up to help. And I know that's the chapter you were referring to,
Sure.
chapter 4, which there are different ways to open to help. You can open to help by going to support groups, that are well known and known to be helpful to people, like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or Codependence Anonymous, CODA, or Adult Children of Alcoholics. You go to get that support, or grief group, or you go to therapy to get the support, whatever your problems in living are. And or open up, if you're spiritual or religion, to your church or pastor, to work on your faith and positive inspiration in your life. You got to want to be, take care of yourself. You got to put some energy into your mind, body, spirit, self-care every day, and be willing to find that time, that energy, and do it for yourself. And it can make all the difference in the world. Like the difference of whether or not you bother to brush your teeth or not. You're going to get a lot of dental problems, and pay me now or pay me later. It's kind of like that with your mental health, emotional health as well. You're going to pay me now or pay me later. You're going to take care of yourself, or it is going to come up, and then you're going to be in a state, and you go in and take care of yourself then. But maybe don't let it build up to that point. When you feel some problem, come in and just talk about it.
You just said the word spiritual. I saw it
Mhm.
in this chapter.
Yes,
We've
yes.
skimmed upon it before, but it seems to me that it's super important.
Well, they do find that people that have some attention to their spiritual health, health, they're connected to the good, or that they're good, like at the beginning of the chapter that you read, it's kind of like that affirmation that you are good, you deserve good, and be of that positive mind. That people who have a religion or some sort of spiritual philosophy, they go, are happier people than ones that don't have that.
Hmm.
So it is important for because what therapy can do for you is help you to become a whole, fulfilled, happy person in all these areas of your life, and help you learn, how do you change your negative thoughts so you are a positive mind, positive thinking, and so you come from a place creating the good in your life. How can you take, what are the areas of your life you have a right to take care of? You don't have to just go to work or be a parent. We have a right to take care of your needs as well, your social need, your mental, creative, intellectual STEM needs, your emotional acceptance needs, your physical health, your responsibilities, your spiritual inspiration, hope, faith, that you have a right to take care of all this yourself. And that's what therapy can help you to, make you a little accountable to look at those areas. It's like just a simple thing, like they're finding now that depression is often related to low vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency can make all the difference in the world. If you get, your PCP tested and you're deficient and you start taking vitamin D. I have people coming in all the time where like, wow, it's like a miracle. My fatigue is gone. I'm not so depressed.
And
So it's really,
I just want to jump in if I may, because
mhm, sure.
I went for a blood test last year and
Uh-huh.
it came back with the lowest level of vitamin D they've ever seen.
Oh no.
Yeah. So they put me on a
I'm so,
prescription, like 50,000 units a week. You just take it
right.
once and that was it.
Yes.
Um,
Right. Easy.
but I was feeling kind of blah,
Yeah.
um,
Uh-huh.
brain fog, and just I didn't know what it was. So in a short period of time, I noticed it all went away, and then come to learn that vitamin D isn't just a vitamin; it also helps the absorption of other vitamins and minerals. So it plays
Absolutely.
such a major role in our bodies that we don't even realize.
Exactly, exactly. And it makes you feel so much better when you address that deficiency. So that's kind of like when you first come into therapy, your therapist is trying to look at all these areas of your life. Well, if you say you're depressed, it could be from many things. You could be, have a complex PTSD with a part of you that kind of has walls around it, holds a bunch of depression. But when it gets triggered and it's up, you're just in this depressed state. Or you could have a unipolar or a bipolar depression. You have to figure out which one, because different pill works better for one than the other one. And so, or you have a vitamin D deficiency. Your therapist can say, hey, when's your next annual? Get your
Hmm.
PCP, because some of them do and some of them don't. A lot of people, them now are gotten there to, always test for vitamin D each time, but at least you can get your therapist say, hey, make sure the vitamin D or your thyroid's checked. So all these things can add up to feeling happy, over time, if you can identify, well, what's the root of this. And then what's the cure, or the maintenance, for it, so you feel good.
Hmm. Is there anything that therapy can't do? No, maybe there's some misconceptions or thoughts that people have. Is there anything that it can't do?
Well, I think, like you said, you were alluding to earlier. I don't know if you remember this old joke when they had all those light bulb jokes. Like how many does this light
Right.
bulb? Well, for
How many
this,
blank does it take to screw in a light bulb?
yes, exactly. Well, for the psychologist one or the therapist one, it's like how many psychologists does it take to put in a light bulb? For the person. And I'm probably getting this wrong now, but it's like it says it's only one, but oh no, how, shoot, I can't remember. You'll help me, Steve. But essentially, what it's saying is that the person, if a person was a light bulb, how many, would you need to do? And it's only one, but the person really has to want to change. Just it only takes one person, and it's that light bulb has to really want to change. So in other words, they've got to come in. You have to come to therapy and realize it is going to be some work involved. Somebody doesn't fix. You can't. Unfortunately, it'd be lovely if we could just fix somebody, but you can't. You can help them understand themselves, but then most of the work is going out of the office. I mean, they're the ones who would have to go to the doctor and get their vitamin D checked. They're the ones that would have to, do their, breath work when they're angry to calm down and have positive thoughts so they can communicate. They're the ones that has to go back and talk to the spouse about the problem that they're having and get some iMessages and share, in other words, all that is the person has to be willing to do that work and really want to change and realize, of course, you just do these things, it's going to make a major difference in your life. And
sure.
So,
you got to do the work. By the way, I think it's how many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but the light bulb has to want to change itself.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Thinking about that. Yeah, you have to want to change.
I've been so long since I've heard that.
Yeah, I'm horrible at telling jokes. So I have to double think it, double check it. But it's I've wondered or discovered that everything in life is work. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because now I'm making plans to see my sister this weekend at the beach. We haven't seen each other in a while, and I've introduced her to my friends, and we're all going to get together. Great.
Lovely.
However, it's work. Now we have to coordinate. Okay, who's going to drive? Do you want to come with us? What time are we going to meet for the ferry? What about this? What about that? What are we going to eat? Blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
There's work involved in that. Work, equaling fun. But if you want to change your life and work with a therapist, it's not like you just walk in and magic happens and then you walk out. See you next week. You have to do some of the work where, like you say, being spiritual, as you said, even keeping a journal, a gratitude journal. Yes, forgot to write in mine this morning. Got to get that later.
Now you remember.
those little things that support what you're doing. And I believe, having gone through that journey, after a while, it starts propelling you up. It's like you're floating in the water, and then a wave comes, and now you're moving, and you're moving forward. With all this other stuff around you, you've done a little bit of swimming here. You've done a little, maybe breaststroke over here. You had a swim teacher, a therapist. Yeah. So it's not the magic pill. That's where I'm going with that.
Right. And your therapist should help you to have that hope, that if you do these things, each time, and that affirmation that you're making progress and to have that hope. And I was thinking too, hypnosis is something just for suggestions, helps you get in that relaxed state, absorb these positive thoughts. And one of them that somebody joked with me, and there's truth in a joke, was saying that every time you do a hypnosis for whatever it is, smoking or it's for depression or whatever, because they all work, you should always include procrastination and not procrastinating. So if we did hypnosis for whatever it is and you add don't procrastinate, that really helps. So then you're staying on top of taking care of yourself, and include, whenever you think of procrastinating, you're going to go ahead and do it, and you become a better planner, and you carry things out efficiently, and includes your own self-care. And that can be part of a little 15-minute guided imagery hypnosis as part of your therapy, and help you to be on top of taking care of you.
It's a lot of this we don't want to do because it does seem like work, and we don't see the benefits. We're so programmed to press that button on Amazon, 2 p.m. it's showing up.
Right.
But you have to be patient. And a lot of us don't have that patience, but comes to a point, and give me your feelings and clarity, comes to a point where you do that work you include a little spiritualism, you take care of yourself, you grounded, you go into therapy, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I feel better. Like the boat's not rocking anymore. Yeah, I got a grip on it. Things present themselves where normally you'd be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Now it's like, yeah, we're good. We'll take care of that. I'm not going to worry about that. You get to a good place.
Right. And that's why I created the workbook too, the Love Yourself, Love Your Life, because it covers every possible area, pretty much, the different types of therapy with little checklists at the end that you can use. And in between time, you can actually work on that, whatever it is. Like if we didn't, at the end of the talk, they bring up some relationship issue. So we'll read for this week, create healthy relationships, read, speak your truth, how to express and work out win-wins. And so not only have you done what you needed to do during the session, but then you got a little homework that you're going to work on. Read something that's going to guide you to do more for yourself. You just keep, building and enhancing yourself.
Yeah.
And then you see the results and it feels so good, just like the thing I mentioned, like you're saying about the vitamin D, all of a sudden, you feel, all that blah is gone. It's like, wow, that was well worth it.
Yeah. And thank you for the reminder on that, because I need to get a script for just a routine blood test. And I had the heart stuff, the heart panel taken care of. So I don't need to do that again. But when I get just the rest of everything done soon, I have to make sure they include vitamin D. I don't know if that's standard, but in my case,
right. And they just have to check another box. It's easy.
Right. Judge, but you got to ask. It's you're your own advocate. Last test I had, they didn't do the PSA test, which is men need that. So it's like you have to ask.
Exactly. You got to be your own health advocate, right?
100%. Yeah. So tell us how we can find you. Somebody even has questions, even the book and the workbook that we're talking about.
Absolutely. The easiest way I think is to go to on the internet, go to Psychology Today. That's a directory. It's got different therapists on it. And basically under mine, it just has my picture and it has my link to my main website where you can find everything, And so that would, I think, be the easiest way to find me. Go to, that, look up Ann Creekmore and click the link and it'll have the whole website with my books, with my phone number, email, all that good stuff.
Always great talking with you. Always learn so much when we get together. Little nuggets of information here and there. And for anybody that's going through some things and just need somebody to talk to as a starting point, somebody impartial. We can talk to our friends. They're going to tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
Reach out. There's somebody there like Ann that wants to help you. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Appreciate it. And we'll get together next time. Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you. We are coming right back. Hang on.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.